Photochemical film has been the exclusive format used to capture, develop, project, and store moving images for over 100 years. It is only recently that a new technology has emerged that is challenging film's place as the gold standard for quality and workflow. Digital technology is evolving to a point that may very well replace film as the primary means of creating and sharing motion pictures.
As a filmmaker yourself, if you had the money and the budget, what would you film on and why?
I would still film on digital, although it's cheaper, because it's so much more convenient to use rather than celluloid. And celluloid might have a different texture to it, but yeah, digital, I prefer. The quality has gone up to 6K now, so it's getting better and better, although I don't think that we need quality as good as 6K, because then you can start to see unnecessary detail, but definitely digital.
Coming to cinema, and at the same time we're going to mourn the loss of film.
The camera is a tool that focuses and measures photons of light and records them as images. With a film camera, light enters through the lens and hits a frame of film behind the lens. The film is covered with an emulsion that contains grains of silver halide crystals. These crystals react chemically when light hits them, and the crystals change into silver metal when they are developed. A photographic image is formed on the film.
When I was at college, so at the same point where you are now, we shot on digital still. I haven't ever shot on celluloid before, but it was on tapes, DV tapes. Now the difference is that it took probably 4 or 5 times longer for the whole process than what you're currently doing now. So, you know, tapes would fill up quicker than your SD cards that you've got now. The quality wasn't as good. Editing took so much more time because you had to capture it in real time rather than just uploading single files. So generally speaking, if you had to go back to what I did, you would find it boring, and it would take up probably 4 or 5 more amounts of your time.
I don't give crap about film. Don't give a crap about film. The digital technology's come so far. I've been on sets where they've shot with film. I've been on sets where they shot digitally. You want to be on the set where they're shooting digitally. And now it's so gorgeous and beautiful now what they can do. But look, I'm not taking away, just because I feel that way, I'm not taking anything away from the people who still feel that love and affection for film. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel that way whatsoever, but if you're going to ask me what my personal opinion of it is, I could care less if film disappeared tomorrow. I really, as long as we saved all the films first. As long as we save all the movies first. Hey, God bless Quentin Tarantino for having a love for it and wanting to have his film-only movies theater. I think there's a place for that. I think I celebrate that people who have a love for it have a place to go and celebrate that kind of stuff. And a lot of these filmmakers grew up working with film. That's how they learn. That's where they're comfortable. They've got an affection with it. They feel they work best with it. More power to you.
Yeah, so the difference between celluloid and digital, there's quite a few. Cost is the big one. Obviously, celluloid costs far more than what digital does to make. As far as quality is concerned, digital's got what they've called the superior picture. You know, it has more pixels, it's clearer, but celluloid still gives you a look that digital doesn't. It gives you a texture and grit.
Celluloid, it just takes, it's a lengthy process, it's difficult, and it's almost a different way of directing. I mean, as a director, I would have to make sure that the takes are longer and that they're consistent throughout. I'd like to try it, but I wouldn't prefer to use it, I don't think.
A digital camera does not use film. Instead, it has an electronic sensor or chip behind the lens. The sensor is made up of millions of tiny picture elements, or pixels for short. When light enters the camera, it hits the pixels and creates individual electronic charges. These charges are measured and converted into digital data that represent the image.
And obviously, as you are a film and television teacher, you've obviously had a passion for film since a young age. When you was younger, you would have filmed digitally. Has the way digital was used then to now changed? Why and how?
Overall, the cameras have got better. So since I was younger and since I've had a passion for filmmaking, the cameras are much better. Like what you're shooting on now is 10 times better than what I shot on.
It's just gone up to, as I said earlier, they've gone up to about 6K now. I think they're going more. But it's getting very good. The quality itself, the sharpness of the picture these days for digital is fantastic. You might not get the same kind of reaction to light that you would on celluloid, but I think the picture itself is getting fantastic. I mean, I like it very much.
And action.
With digital cameras and monitors, you are able to see exactly what you are recording on set as you are shooting.
That's nice.
Unlike film cameras, you don't have to wait a day to see what you've captured. They are no longer dailies, they are immediatelys.
And as you probably know, analogue film is very expensive to film, at about $10,000 per minute. Do you think this is overpriced for its quality/quantity?
That's a difficult question, really, because analogue, because so many people these days are not really using celluloid as much as they're using digital. So I think I wouldn't, taking into account the budget of films, I wouldn't say it's overpriced. I would say you're paying for a classic. You're paying for something that is not used very much. It's only used by a few people who know what they're doing and know why they're doing it. So I wouldn't really say it's overpriced. I'd just say you're paying for something, for a classic. It's like you're paying for an old classic car. The value is there because it's been tested, it's been used, and the quality is, a lot of people prefer the texture.
I've worked with a couple of actors that insist on looking at every take. With one of the actors, I was able to talk him out of it because it was making his performances very self-conscious.
I mean, I actually think I'm getting gypped when I go to a movie and I realize it's either been shot on digital or being projected in digital.
It's really sad right now to see cameras recording imagery in an inferior way starting to take over film. I'm not going to trade my oil paints for a set of crayons.
You also have to be a bit of a technician and you have to know the equipment. And it's really important for DPs to understand the entire length of the image chain from acquisition to exhibition. Today, in this